does seem to have a brain drain. What specifically would you propose for trying to retain more of our educated people within the Commonwealth, after they graduate from university? Ms. Boscola, would you like to start?
It all comes down to job opportunities that are available to them. Look, we have one of the best university systems in the entire country. And I know that because independent reviews have said that maybe our business climate isn't as friendly, but we get A's when it comes to our educational system here in Pennsylvania. So we start there. And companies that do locate here indicate that we have a good, strong, educated workforce. How do we get that workforce to stay in the Commonwealth is a challenge. And the only way you're going to get them to stay is if you offer them a job. And the way you offer them a job is to create job opportunities for them. Going back to what I said earlier, you have to create a business-friendly climate for them and make the investments that are needed to grow startup companies in venture capital and so forth.
Thank you, Mr. Connolly.
I do have to correct something you said in your opening and then your follow-up about not raising taxes. I've got sheets of taxes you voted for to raise. As a matter of fact, in the 2009 budget, the budget legislation also increases the tax rate and extends the phase-out of the capital stock and franchise tax. You voted yes on this. I have this right here.
Phase out of the capital stock and franchise tax.
Yeah, it increased it.
I would. Phase out of the capital stock and franchise tax.
The tax had been scheduled to expire at the end of 2010. However, it's now going to be scheduled to expire in 2013, and it's going to be raised 2.89 mils, and you voted yes on that. That was one of the taxes. I mean, you can't say you've never voted for a tax. You've raised the tax. It's not a spin. It's not a spin. Anyway, to get back to the initial point, I felt like taking so much time. As far as you look at places where young people want to go who graduate, they want to go to exciting high-tech places. We're losing those in Pennsylvania. We're losing those because the high-tech places, which the most intellectualism is needed to maintain, tends to be in places that are not necessarily industrial and can move anywhere. So unfortunately, they're not going to go in a place with a high tax rate. They're going to go in a place that has a lower tax rate that is opening the doors to them to embrace these new technologies and these new companies so they can move there.
Well, taxes is certainly an issue for most of the voters, and one of the taxes that comes up frequently in voter complaints is the property tax, and which is kind of the mainstay of our local school districts and most of our local governments. So the question here is, particularly with the school taxes, do you support or see any alternatives to the property tax for funding public schools? And do you feel there should be legislation to put a cap on property taxes or even eliminate them for school funding? Mr. Connolly, would you start off on that question?
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up. School taxes is one of the reasons I chose to run. I remember in 2002, there was a billboard that Senator Boscola put up, and it said that she would eliminate property taxes now, okay? At the time, her opponent was Nick Sabatini. Now, there was a morning call column that I read, written by Matt Assad, and I have the transcript here. And Nick Sabatini was complaining about the untruthfulness because one of the things that involved in her formula to fix this was increasing or adding other taxes. She replied about his irritation with the billboards. Now that I know my billboards irritate him, I'll put up 5 more, Boscola said. I will eliminate school taxes just as I said. Maybe if he did a little more working and a little less whining, he could create a bipartisan plan that both parties could support. I think that's an important issue. In business, if you've been on the job for 12 years and have not accomplished what you said you were going to do, you'd be fired. And in politics, you tend to lose your position.
Thank you, Mr. Connolly. Ms. Boscola?
First of all, my opponent needs to get his facts straight. My billboard said, join with me in the fight to eliminate property taxes. Anybody with common sense knows one individual, one senator alone can't eliminate property taxes. You need 50 senators, 203 House members, and a governor to go along. Now look, I was the first one in the history of this Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to force the governor into a special session on property taxes. Unheard of. Guess what Governor Schweiker, the Republican governor, did? He was so unhappy that a Democrat could force him into a property tax special session that he chose to do nothing with it. Now, what do? I mean, we had a bunch of senators, Democrats and Republicans, that wanted to take this fight and have a special session on it, but yet a governor that chose not to. So when I put that billboard up, I'll put it up again and 5 times more. You will see me continuing to fight for property tax relief for homeowners. And in some degree, when you look at spending in Harrisburg, we're giving our educational system about a 44% increase in funding, and yet property taxes still go high. That's the problem we need to address.
Thank you. Let's follow up on that a little bit, and give both of you a chance to clarify your position.